Welcome back to today's episode, guys. So today I am working on the driver's side, and the driver's side panel, so far so good. This is a completely different technique than I did on the passenger side. On the passenger side, it did a flange weld method. Doing this side on a butt weld technique, I took this panel on a much larger scale and I kind of just lined it up on the vehicle, kind of marked off where my cuts were that I made already on the previous videos, and then after that I kind of just left a good inch around the entire panel and I just cut things out and I just slowly started skimming away on this material. So far so good. This technique I do like on a much smaller scale. If I had the option to do the other side the same way, I would have liked to, but I just didn't feel as confident. But I did like having the chance to do both methods. I so far haven't welded this. Hopefully when I do go to butt weld this, that I don't run into problems burning through or anything like that. But I am just taking my time, making sure that I can keep everything nice and flush together with the most minimal gaps. And I think so far so good. So I'll show you what this panel piece kind of looks like in there. There is a small spot here that I kind of did get a little heavy with grinding, but I think it's still gonna be okay when I go to weld it. So if we get this nice and tucked in, like this is beautiful here, and I do have to take off a bit here in the middle. There is this ever so small of a gap here. I did try my best to get this as tight as possible. Wonder if you can see it here. It's pretty small. You probably won't be able to see it on the camera. And I think after this, I'm just going to clean up the body panel, this replacement panel, and I am going to go ahead and start welding things in there and kind of getting it looking nice and good. So I've just tacked everything in, guys, and made sure that I had everything nice and tight against the metal when I was going to make those tacks. Everything's coming out pretty good. There is a small little piece right here that I actually that I kind of didn't get flushed. I'm actually going to just cut that off and push it in nicely so they can be nice and flush and flat. I've been making sure that when I've been doing these replacements, I'm actually throwing on my bumper to make sure that everything is running flush and clean. And as you can see, it's looking pretty good. Rather happy with how everything's turned out. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start working on the very bottom end and just cleaning it up, getting the piece cut out, and basically doing the same procedure and technique that I used here on this side with this larger piece. And I'm just going to butt weld everything in, close it all up. I'm going to try and start working on the underneath. I'd love to be able to seal it with the POR 15. So I can actually get to work on putting the suspension back in here and completing all the work that needs to be completed around the wheel well here. But I'm anxious to get the body done, and I know it's going to take me a long time, especially because I don't want to rush this, and I kind of just want to make sure everything goes smoothly. So, but also I kind of want to see what this car looks like with all the doors and the bumper and the hood. It's been a while, so let's keep this video going, and I'll continue working on the small piece here on the very bottom that requires some attention. So this technique is going to be a little different with this small piece. I'm actually going to take this piece and just trace it onto the body, and I'm going to cut off the body. So with the other piece that I did right here, I just removed off of this panel and just took my time until I slotted it in, and that took a little longer than I wanted, so I'm going to try this way and see if this saves some time. And yeah, You really can't screw up at this point, because if I go too far on cutting this out on the body, then I'm going to have a larger gap between my panels lining up against each other. So got to make sure I don't do that. So I'll just take my time. I'm going to tape this off so I can have a bit more visible line when I'm cutting, because it's really hard to transfer onto this black with a black marker or a green marker. So I'm going to use some tape and kind of line this out, and then I'm going to make these cuts and get this welded in. It got a little warm that the metal started actually pulling into the body, but it actually will make perfect for when I do go to do body filler. I can show you. It's actually quite a bit, if you actually see in there. The heat got to it, but I'm pretty flush with the rest of the body there, that if that's just the gap with filler, and I don't have to grind any further on the welds, that I'll be able to keep the strength a lot easier instead of trying to grind that further down. So it's pretty much ready where it's at. So then this is done, this is done. Then this is done. Alright, so everything is just going to get wiped down now, and I'm going to clean everything with acetone. Don't roll away. I'm going to clean up everything with acetone, and then I'm going to go ahead and start PORing pretty much everything to get this sealed up so we can get some real progress done on this car. So just getting rid of the final bits of grease, the buildup on here. I'm gonna go ahead and get to work on underneath the car, because it's been long overdue, and I've left a nice layer of surface rust on there that the POR will bond to nicely. It does a really good job bonding on to bare metal as well, but just as good with the rust. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply that. I'm just gonna use my little cup to transfer over into my working cup, and get the underneath looking pretty. I am supposed to get something to stir this, not shake it, but stir it before I transfer it. So see if I can find something here. So this is just started, and the worst part is applying this with a brush. It's not like the engine bay one. It was actually a lot easier for it to level out nicer. Here there's just so many grooves and bends in the metal that it's just a pain in the ass to get nice coverage. Just gonna keep at it. Eventually when this is done, it'll look good. Guys, thanks for watching today's episode. Hit that like button, subscribe to the video. For you new viewers, welcome to the channel, and I hope to see you in the next video.